versus Kamis Hassan, file number 23-03327. Councilman Terrence.
Jeff Rodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. John Abbott with the Public Defender's Office representing Mr. Hassan, who is right here.
Did I say that first name right? Is it Kamis?
Yeah.
How are you, Mr. Hassan? I'm doing well, thank you. Today's the date and the time that was set for a preliminary examination. It says the people are unable to meet their burden of proof, so they're making a motion to dismiss the case without prejudice. That simply means that the case will be dismissed if I grant the motion, and they have the right to reissue the charge against you within the statutory timeframe if the necessary witnesses or information and evidence becomes available at a later time. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions at this time? Your case will be dismissed without prejudice. We'll get you a copy and you'll be all set for today, okay? Happy Thanksgiving. I don't. Why was there no writ for clerk?
It was originally just released, and then they must have picked them up while they transferred them over there.
Okay. I thought he was already in custody. He already, the timeline is already away, so you can just reset it. Is Donnelly here?
Yeah, she was in other courts.
We'll just get another court date. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Omari Hoskins, file number 23-03313, FY council appearance.
Jeff Rodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. John Abbott representing Mr. Hoskins. He's standing to my right.
How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Today's the date and the time that was set for preliminary examination. I have information here that says that there was an offer for the defendant to plead in district court. Plead to what in district court?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer was for Mr. Hoskins to plea as charged to count 1 of weapons carrying concealed and count 2 domestic violence here in district court. That'd be a felony plea in district court. Otherwise, people would seek to run the exam and look to add additional charges.
Oh, how does your client want to see?
Your Honor, we were intending to waive the preliminary exam, and Mr. Brodowitz only just informed me that he was going to not allow a waiver, and put it in spite of my waiting. So I'd like to discuss it with my client, if you don't mind.
Okay,
If he
let's
wants
see.
to risk having the additional charges placed into the information. Divide over.
Okay. I see an email from the 15th of November indicating that they intend to run the exam.
I have no doubt that there's been better communication between the prosecutor and.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and we're ready to proceed today with the exam.
Yes, Your Honor. The people, and for the record, the people would be proceeding victims with that exam, Your Honor.
Okay, sounds good. I'll give you time to talk to him before we call the first witness.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
you just said we're just resetting Mr. Clark. Okay.
Mr. Clark wasn't read it over.
Yeah, but we're not going on the record with that one. I just have witnesses here that I would like.
I don't even have Ms. Donnelly here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just said reset it. He already waived the timeline, so.
All right, I will. Should be all good, sir.
Did you not want the new date now? Is
Yes,
that your witness?
sorry, yes, Your Honor.
You can give me the date. January 11th at 9. Is Albert Palacio here?
Yeah.
And his attorney?
us.
Who? No, we need Mr. Sherman to come in here and put it on the record. Okay, back on the record in the matter of Omari Hoskins, and do you have any preliminary matters before we call the first witness?
Just sequestration order, Your Honor.
How many witnesses do you have?
I believe I will have 2 witnesses, Your Honor. They're both officers. They're both out of the court.
Okay, do you have any witnesses?
Not today.
Okay, do you want to sequester your own witnesses? Or
Just to be fair, Your Honor.
please be my guest. There's 2 officers that are in the back jury room.
Yes.
Okay, sequestration order is granted. You can call your first witness.
People would call Officer Matthew Stevens, Your Honor.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
I swear.
Thank you. You can have a seat, officer. Please state your first and last name and spell both.
First name's Matthew, that's Matthew. Last is Stevens, Stevens.
All right, counsel, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Stevens.
Morning.
Officer Stevens, how are you employed?
With the City of Lansing Police Department as a patrol officer
And how long have you been with the City of Lansing?
for almost 3 years.
And were you working in that capacity on November 2nd, 2023?
Yes, sir.
And at some point on that date, did your duties take you to the location of 4031 West Jolly Road?
Yes, sir.
And is that located in the City of Lansing,
Yes, sir.
in Ingham County?
Yes, sir.
And why were you dispatched to that location?
I was dispatched out there for a weapons complaint.
Okay, and when you arrived out there, did you make contact with anyone?
Yes, sir.
And who did you make contact with?
With I apologize. I forgot his name here.
Did you make do you see the individual you made contact with here in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Can you please indicate where they're sitting in an article of clothing they're wearing?
He's sitting on the right side over there with a blue sweatshirt on.
All right. And did you make contact with anyone else that day?
Yes, sir.
And who did you make contact with?
It was the female half and the so
And do you remember?
Excuse me, what did you say?
it was with the female half and the alleged assault.
And what did you, do you remember that individual's name?
I do not recall.
Officer Stevens, if you saw a copy of your report, would that refresh your memory as to the name of that individual?
Yes, it will.
Permission to approach, Your Honor.
Okay.
You could just look at that section of your report really quick and let me know if when your memory's refreshed. Officer Stevens, do you remember the name of that individual?
Her name was Jasmine Collins.
And
Jasmine, what?
Jasmine Collins.
And did you take a statement from Ms. Collins?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. And without telling me exactly what she said, what did you learn from Ms. Collins?
That an assault had occurred. During that assault, she was strangled, as well as had a firearm pointed at her.
So you just back up. So you learned from Ms. Collins that an assault had occurred.
Yes, sir.
Did you learn the name of the accused party in that assault?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do you recall the name of that accused party?
It was Amari Hoskins.
Okay,
Objection, Your Honor, this is all hearsay. As far as the identification of the parties and what was said.
Okay. Did you want to respond to the hearsay objection?
Your Honor, I'm just simply trying to lay the foundation to run this victim list under 27C, Your Honor.
Okay, so now being offered for the issue for the matter asserted?
No.
Okay, the objection's overruled.
Okay, and what was Ms. Collins's demeanor when you interviewed her?
She was cooperative. I mean, outside of that, I didn't notice a whole lot else.
And from Ms. Collins, did you learn when this alleged assault had occurred?
It was right before she called police, sir.
Did you obtain any information about the relationship between Ms. Collins and Mr. Hoskins?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what was that relationship?
They've been dating for approximately 6 months. She was possibly pregnant with Amari Hoskins' child, but they have no other children in common.
And when you arrived, was anyone hurt on the scene?
Yes, sir.
And did you learn when those injuries occurred?
It was at the same time as the assault there.
Okay. And on that date, my apologies, one last question. On that date, how were you dressed?
In a fully marked LPD uniform.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, the people would seek to admit the statements from the victim to this officer under 76827C. In that the statements were about physical injury that had been sustained by Ms. Collins. They were made at or near the time of infliction. They involved a domestic relationship between her and Mr. Hoskins. They were made to a police officer and were, as they were shortly in time after the alleged assault, I believe under circumstances that would indicate trustworthiness, Your Honor.
Mr. Abbott?
Your Honor, I object that the statute itself violates the constitutional right to confront witnesses against continue that objection. Thank you.
You ejected the statute. That's the wrong place to object to the statute for that purpose. You got to do that at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, well, it's on,
I know you don't like the statute, but it's the law, is it not?
it is the lawyer.
It's not been overturned?
It has not.
Okay, thank you. I'm struggling with the trustworthiness at this point. I need you to lay some further foundation, and particularly as it relates to the demeanor, because he said she was cooperative, but he doesn't really notice anything else. I need some more foundation there.
Okay. So can you, Officer Stevens, can you elaborate a little more on Ms. Collins's demeanor when you interviewed her?
I mean, as I said, she was cooperative. She told me that an assault had occurred. I took her statement there. During that time, she expressed her fear of the accused just due to the first time she had a firearm pointed at her. That was pretty much what I gathered from my investigation.
The question was, or posed to you, officer, was her demeanor, not what she expressed to you. How did she look? Did you notice? Was she crying, disheveled? Those are the questions we're looking for. Can you describe that, or do you not recall?
I do not recall.
if I can approach it from another way, Your Honor. So when you were dispatched to that location, do you recall who made the original dispatch or who made the original call to 911?
That was Jasmine Collins.
Okay, and do you recall what information you were provided during that night, during that dispatch?
That she was assaulted, she had a firearm pointed at her.
I'll object to that.
Want to respond to the objection?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm simply trying to admit this testimony to show the victim's trustworthiness here in that what she reported to officers or reported to 911 that officers responded to was what they found when they responded to that call, Your Honor.
So you are seeking to admit this witness's testimony about what the victim who's not here told dispatch that he later heard
I'm seeking
to support the trustworthiness?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm seeking to report what he was relayed from dispatch to support the witness's trustworthiness.
Okay, I'm going to sustain the objection. I don't see how what you were relayed to dispatch can satisfy the element here that we need, which is her demeanor, when this witness actually had face-to-face contact allegedly with this witness and he can't recall. So I don't care what someone said over dispatch. If you can't tell me what happened when you saw her or what she looked like when you saw her.
Okay. I guess then with that, Your Honor, I would still move that the victim's statements be admitted under 27C. As for the circumstances that would indicate trustworthiness, I would just rely on the officer's testimony that this incident happened shortly before officers responded, and that the officers testified that while he was interviewing the victim here, that she expressed fear of the defendant.
Mr. Abbott.
Thank you, Your Honor. There still hasn't been any information regarding her demeanor or during the conversation with the officer, the alleged conversation with the officer regarding her trustworthiness. So I still object to the admission. It doesn't meet the criteria established in the statute. Thank you.
I don't know how we can establish trustworthiness without even being able to identify her demeanor or describe how she was, what she looked like and acted like at the time of that interaction with law enforcement. It seems, just based on the information we have so far, that this particular witness struggles with a lack of memory about a lot of what's taking place here. Didn't remember the defendant's name. He didn't, or the suspect's name. He didn't remember the name of the alleged victim, and he doesn't recall her demeanor. How are you moving for a proper foundation? So your request is denied.
Thank you, Your Honor. So then, Officer Stevens, when you first responded to this call, did you make contact with anyone?
Yes, sir.
And that would be the individual you previously identified as the defendant here?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that individual's name at this time?
Mari Hoskins.
All right. And when you arrived on scene, how did you proceed?
As I arrived on scene, another officer who was already on scene had identified the vehicle that Jasmine Collins had advised dispatch the accused was in.
Objection, that's your safety.
Objection sustained.
What information were you provided? What information were you provided by dispatch that made you single out that vehicle?
The vehicle was a black or dark gray colored SUV. The license plate on it was TRI. Officer that was initially on scene observed that vehicle in the parking lot in front of the address. As I made contact,
Objection is testifying about what another officer observed.
Objection sustained. Council approach. Further questions?
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Briefing, Your Honor, thank you. Officer, do you recall writing a police report after this incident?
yes, sir.
Do you recall writing that Jasmine did not complain of any injuries? Remember writing that in your report?
Your Honor, I would object at this time. As the statements of the victim were not admitted under 27C, I don't see how this line of question would be relevant to the charges at bar here, Your Honor.
Do you want to respond?
Okay.
Objection is sustained.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Officer Stevenson. You can call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People would call Officer Lucas Kilburn.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
I do.
Thank you. Can you state your first and last name and spell both?
Lucas Kilborn, Lucas, Kilborn, Kilbourn.
See, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Kilburn.
Good morning.
Officer Kilburn, how are you employed?
I'm employed as a police officer at the city of Lansing.
And how long have you been a police officer with the city of Lansing?
Approximately 2.5 to 3 years.
Okay, and were you working in that capacity on November 2nd, 2023?
I was.
And did there come a point in time where your duties took you to 4031 West Jolly Road?
Yes,
All right, and is that location in the city of Lansing,
it is.
in Ingham County?
Yes.
Okay, and what caused you to be at that location?
Call for service, reference assault involving a weapon.
Okay, and did you receive any other information during that dispatch?
I did. The accused was possibly still on scene and possibly in the vehicle.
And did you receive any information about that vehicle?
I did.
And what was that?
That was possibly a Chevrolet some SUV with a license plate that was customized and unique in nature.
Okay, and do you remember what that specific license plate was that you were provided?
I believe the license plate I was provided was a variation of TRI, or TR1.
Okay, and when you arrived on scene, did you locate a vehicle matching that description?
I did. I located a black Chevy Equinox with a license plate of I believe it was TRI or TR1 with a numerical 2 to follow that.
Okay, and when you located that vehicle, how did you proceed?
I approached from the passenger side because I saw that it was occupied one time. Gave the driver commands to keep his hands in the air because I believe there would be a firearm involved. The subject was compliant.
Okay, and how did you proceed from there?
My partner arrived shortly thereafter and secured the driver.
Okay, and at this time, did the driver make any statements that you could hear?
Yeah, without prompt, there was a remark, exclamation that there was a firearm in the vehicle.
Okay, and what did you do after you learned, or after that statement was made?
I went inside the vehicle and located and secured a firearm out of the center console.
Okay. Now, Officer Kilborn, I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 1. Permission to approach her?
You may.
You can just take a look at that really quickly and then look up when it's done. Okay, Officer, do you recognize that photograph?
I do.
And how do you recognize it?
I recognize the firearm that was secured from that vehicle that I captured this photograph.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of the firearm you recovered?
Yes.
All right, at this time, Your Honor, the people would move for admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 1.
No objection.
People's one is admitted.
After you recovered the firearm, how did you proceed?
I believe I secured the firearm of the nearby patrol vehicle, and I proceeded to investigation.
Okay, did you ever question the driver of that vehicle?
I did.
And was he read his rights prior to questioning?
I don't recall. If I can refer to my report, I'd be able to advise.
Okay,
I just need you to speak up a little bit, because you speak kind of fast too, and then this is blocking the sound.
Okay, I apologize.
You say you believe you read him the rights and then what?
I just would like to refer to my report to clarify.
Oh, okay,
if I may approach, Your Honor,
you may.
just let me know when your memory is refreshed. Officer.
Awesome.
All right. So, Officer, was he read his rights prior to questioning?
He was.
All right, and did he waive?
Your Honor, he's not recalling what he
Sorry.
just read from his police report. I read him right. It's not that he-
He refreshed his recollection, so.
I can rephrase, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So, Officer, did that refresh your recollection? Okay, so from that, did you read Mr. Hoskins' rights prior to questioning?
I did.
Or sorry, the driver, I have not. Okay, and did the driver waive those rights? Okay, and did the driver make any statements about the firearm?
I believe the firearm, Mr. Haskins, he stated that the firearm in the vehicle was his, and that it had remained in the vehicle for the duration of whatever incident occurred at this reference. So
Okay, and did the driver, during the course of your investigation, did the driver have a concealed pistol license?
No.
Okay. And did you ever identify the driver of that vehicle?
I don't recall if I specifically identified him, but he was identified on scene.
Okay, and do you see the driver anywhere here in the courtroom today? Can you please indicate where he's sitting in an article of clothing he's wearing?
Sitting at the table over here with the blue sweater on.
At this time, Your Honor, the people, and sorry, do you remember the name of that individual?
Yeah, Omar Haskins.
All right, at this time, Your Honor, the people would move for identification.
Identification is noted for the purposes of preliminary examination.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Questions?
And this witness be excused.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Officer Kilburn.
Permission to publish People's Exhibit 1 to the court.
Yes. Any additional witnesses?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Mr. Abbott, any witnesses today?
No, thank you.
Argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. People would move that this be bound over to the circuit court as charged. We heard testimony from two witnesses, Officer Matthew Stevens and Officer Lucas Kilborn. Specifically, I will focus on the testimony of Officer Kilborn. Officer Kilborn testified that on November 2nd, 2023, he was dispatched to the area of 4031 West Jolly Road, which is located in the city of Lansing in Ingham County. He was dispatched to that location due to a weapons complaint and had a very specific vehicle description that I believe of a dark Chevrolet with a customized license plate of either TRI, or TR1, TR1. When he arrived on scene, he located a vehicle matching that description. He approached the vehicle, which had one occupant inside, who he identified here as the defendant, Mr. Omari Hoskins. During his investigation into this call, he said that Mr. Hoskins made an unprompted admission that there was a firearm in the vehicle, or made a statement that led them to suspect there was a firearm in the vehicle. Officer Kilborn then searched the vehicle, found a loaded firearm in the center console. He then secured the firearm, read Mr. Hoskins' rights, questioned Mr. Hoskins, and Mr. Hoskins admitted that the firearm, in the vehicle was his, and that he had no concealed pistol license, Your Honor. And so with that, the people would ask that this be bound over as charged on count 1 with count 2 to follow, Your Honor.
Mr. Abbott.
I'll leave this to the court's discretion. Thank you.
Okay, today was the date and the time set for preliminary examination. The burden is on the prosecution to meet probable cause as their standard. So probable cause is more than mere suspicion that a crime was committed. It's not the standard that you would face if this matter were to go to trial. If at trial, they have to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. So this is a flexible burden. It's based on the information and evidence presented at today's hearing and proceeding, and the court is the sole determiner of credibility of the witnesses. We had a witness first from Officer Matt Stevenson, who testified that he was dispatched to an area for a weapons complaint at 4031 West Jolly Road, City of Lansing, State of Michigan, Ingham County, which makes venue before this court appropriate. Most of his testimony not germane to count 1, which is the felony. The felony is the matter that we need to address for probable cause. Domestic violence is not a felony, it's a misdemeanor, so we do not need to address probable cause today. We had testimony from Officer Kilborn, who also indicated that he was dispatched to the area 4031 for an assault involving a weapon. He indicated that dispatch provided a description of the vehicle, that being a black Chevy with a customized license plate, which he believed he recalled the customized license plate number stated on the record. He was able to locate, he said, a vehicle in the area that fit that description, that being a black Chevy Equinox. He said he gave the driver commands because he believed the driver to have a firearm, or that a firearm to be involved based on dispatch. He did indicate that the driver was cooperative and that the driver is the person that he identified in this court today to be Omari Hoskins, made a unsolicited remark stating that there was a firearm in the vehicle. Officer Kilborn testified that a firearm was located inside the vehicle. People have admitted Exhibit 1, which is a picture identifying a firearm, looks like on the seat of the vehicle, and testified. The officer testified that the defendant had no valid concealed pistol license. Count 1, which is weapons carrying concealed. At the time of trial, the prosecutor would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, first, that the pistol was in the vehicle that the defendant was in, second, that the defendant knew the pistol was there, and third, the defendant took part in carrying or keeping the pistol in the vehicle. Based on the testimony here, we have a vehicle and we have the defendant allegedly making an unsolicited remark that there was a firearm in the vehicle. The court can make or assume, based on the information and evidence provided thus far, the defendant took part in carrying or keeping the pistol in that vehicle as the vehicle was registered to the defendant. The court is satisfied that there is sufficient probable cause as to count 1, and so that will be bound over to the circuit court for further prosecution. Count 2 of domestic violence will come accompany, because you don't need to address domestic violence for the probable cause purposes of today. Your bind over date is December 6th. That's not a date that you need to appear in court, okay? That's the date the circuit court gets the file from the district court. Your next court date will be a pre-trial in circuit court. Mr. Abbott will be made aware of that date, okay? Do you have any questions? Bond was set at 2,000 personal recognizance with a no contact order in place for the protection of the alleged victim, Jasmine Collins. and have to be within 2,000 feet of wherever she lives, works, or goes to school. Do you have any questions about your bond at this time? Bond will continue. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense. Thank you.
Thank you. You're all set. Here's your exhibit. What about Parnell?
Yes.
Can we see them?
Yeah, he's here.
We run and Russell?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Not sure if we're running Russell.
No, I haven't heard from Ms. Wandy. I believe he's here.
He's definitely here because he waived. She should have had sufficient time to talk to him at this point, so we'll have Mr. Bigelow bring him in the courtroom. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Albert Palacio, file number 23-03335, council appearance.
Jeff Brodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I don't know if I'm officially supposed to make an appearance, but my name is Rob Palmer. I'm an attorney with the Public Defender's Office. I was originally assigned to represent Mr. Palacio, the gentleman who's standing to my right.
And you were originally assigned and did you get switched to somebody else in your office? Because I've not signed a substitution, so you're still on.
I'm still on, yeah. It was originally assigned to Stephen Feigelson.
Okay.
Then it was converted over to me when we realized Mr. Feigelson was supposed to be online.
Got it.
Obviously, Mr. Palacio and I are both here.
Oh,
What I was, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut the court
no,
off.
I just said, okay.
Okay, I was gonna say, I can give the court an update as what's going
I
on.
think I'm familiar, and my understanding is that, Mr. Palacio, you have retained or sought to retain Jamie White.
I did retain him
Oh,
already.
you
He said he's
paid.
gonna be online.
Well, he's not.
We were waiting for him this morning.
That was my understanding. My office did receive an email, I believe, indicating that there was some issue as it relates to their scheduling, or I'm not sure. Nonetheless, they've not appeared, but he's not signed the substitution either. And so I'm not signing until he signs. He's got to sign the substitution so that we can enter him as your attorney in our system and relieve the public defender's office, but he has not signed
I
it.
understand. I talked to him this morning and I waited out there. He just texted me 15 minutes. I sat out there for an hour
I'm sure.
and he said, you go in there and I'll be online. That was 20 minutes, 15 minutes ago.
He's not appeared in my virtual courtroom.
I'm sorry.
Judge, at this point, what I would ask, if the court would permit it, what I would ask is that the court find good cause, or I think Mr. Palacio could even waive his 21 days and that it reset for preliminary examination. I certainly understand the court's frustration in wanting to move this case forward, but I will note that Mr. Palacio has appeared as scheduled both times. I've had private conversations with Mr. Palacio on the phone, trying to assist him in getting this matter taken care of with the White law firm. I don't know what's going on and I don't want to posit a guess, but what I will say is it appears to me that Mr. Palacio is doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. And I think that we find ourselves in this position through no wrongdoing of Mr. Palacio. So I would ask that the court consider allowing him to waive 21 days and reset. Sounds to me like that would have to happen anyway, even if Mr. White or someone from his office showed up, because if the court hasn't signed the substitution, I think it is a weird thing here, because as I understand it, Mr. White has filed an appearance, but the court hasn't really signed the substitution to take me off. And I'm guessing that Mr. White, as a result of that, Mr. White doesn't have discovery yet either. So I don't know how he would be able to advise Mr. Palacio as to his legal rights as of now.
If I may.
I see that there's been a appearances demand filed, and Mr. White's not new to how this system works. If there's already an attorney appearance, you can't just file another appearance. You got to substitute the other one out.
Yes.
I think Mr. White's office, because we've not heard directly from Mr. White, nor have we seen him in our virtual courtroom. And we sent back the substitution on more than one occasion for his signature, and he's not signed it. And so I believe, to your point, that Mr. Palacio has done everything that he was supposed to do, which is hire and pay the attorney to be here and appear in court. We have the issue now where the substituted attorney who's been retained and paid has not appeared in court more than once at this point, and or signed the necessary documents to move this forward. The email we received from his legal assistant is requesting to waive the 21 days. But again, they're not here to do that. But of course, you can assist him with that if that's what you like to do. Mr. Brodowitz.
Yes, Your Honor. I leave the defense that I have no knowledge to the contrary, that Mr. Palacio isn't doing everything necessary. I would just like to put on the record, the people did receive an appearance from Jamie White on Monday, which would have been November 20th. And he was, discovery was shared with him at that time. So I believe he does have discovery in this matter, Your Honor.
Okay. Did he want to waive the 21 days today?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that Mr. Palacio would like to waive his 21 days and reset this matter so that things can get on board with Mr. White. I guess what I'll say at this point also is that if whatever court date that is given for the new preliminary exam date, I will add to my calendar and will continue to show up until I am relieved from it, because I don't like the idea of there being a case with my name on it and me not being in the court.
I appreciate your commitment to appearing and making sure he has representation, even though this is something that really shouldn't fall on you at this point because he's hired an attorney. And so you have the right, sir, to have a preliminary examination within 21 days of the date that you're arraigned. You were arraigned on November 6th, and your exam was scheduled for today. But because your attorney is not present, we don't really know if he's in fact received discovery. You said discovery was sent out, or you just received an appearance 2 days ago?
We did receive an appearance 2 days ago, and discovery was sent out on that same day on the 20th, Your Honor. So
he did receive discovery, but did you meet with them since Monday?
I've talked to him yesterday and today.
Okay.
I took my paperwork in when I signed the paperwork after the last Thursday when they got.
Okay, but I just wanted to know if you went over discovery with him, and it doesn't sound like you had an opportunity to do that. And so because of those reasons, are you willing to waive the timeline so this matter can be reset for preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threatening you to get you to waive the timeline?
No, ma'am.
Has there been any promises extended to you if you waive your timeline? Okay, we'll get you a new date. January 11th at 9 a.m.
would that be for another PCC or preliminary?
At this point, we need another PCC because we don't have a substitution yet. We'll set the exam date after that.
Oh, okay. The January 11th is the PCC.
Excuse me?
PCC January 5th.
You can take the exam day out. We'll do the PCC January 5th at 9 a.m. You have any questions?
No.
Okay, any additional matters for the record?
Sorry, Anna, did you say PCC is January 5th?
January 5th, we'll set an exam once we have Mr. White's schedule.
Nothing from the people then, Your Honor.
I have nothing further, just thank you.
Thank you. We'll get you a notice to appear.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. This funny thing is we got two people looking for the prosecutor right now,
I can be one if you want me to.
and so,
But I do have 3 cases of Judge Buchanan scheduled for it.
yeah, well, I mean, we don't have a prosecutor. Well,
I
I
get to go home.
preempted it.
No, sir, you do not get to go home.
I got new boots.
But listen, we're just happy to see you.
Hey, you like my light? Sits up on my lap.
He's not
I
in
did,
warrant
I
status or
did.
anything today, is he?
No,
We're
he's
just
not.
happy to see you.
No,
You.
you just happy to see me?
Yeah.
I figured.
Even wearing that suit and tie.
Yeah, I figured I'd do it. Why not? It's the holiday.
If you're gonna come, right?
It's for real. It's not Santa Claus. It's the Obama rule. Time of the season.
Oh, yeah, Rudolph.
It's not Rudolph. Obama will sell it. With a drink in the same. Take it, I think. Or 2 drinks. Actually.
I don't know if we can call it that we missed you, but you miss court every other month. That's what it is. You miss court. And we're
I've
always,
never been seeing my
and you
face
always
every-
come like the day later or,
I have never been late though, other than the day. By a day.
okay, they can, yes.
Brodowitz is
You
on,
want
Brodowitz is on the record in Judge Ward's court for some reason. I don't know, I just walked in there.
On the record in Judge Ward's courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Brodowitz is?
Yes,
Are you serious?
yes.
On the record for what?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Why did he even think that was okay? was here first? Is it Mr. Lee? While we waited for you to handle another court's matter, we lost one of our attorneys. He had to go to another court, and Mr. Palmer needs to go to another court. So we can't have you leaving and going handling other court matters when you haven't resolved your own matters, okay?
My apologies. Your Honor.
Okay. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Larry Parnell, file number 23-03324, council appearance.
Jeff Brodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Palmer, the Public Defender's Office, on behalf of Mr. Parnell, the gentleman who stands to my right.
Today's the date and the time that's set for a preliminary examination for a home invasion first. So you're raising your hand?
I'm sorry, can I go put some more money in for my car total?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought it was next.
What's your name, sir?
Levy, Levy.
Okay, yep, Mr. Levy, we'll wait for you to come back. Your attorney had to step into another courtroom anyways.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Today was the date and the time set for a preliminary examination. How are we proceeding?
At this time, Your Honor, the people had subpoenaed one witness for this, to be the complaining victim, Ms. Brittany Harris. She has not appeared in the courtroom today, Your Honor. I did have phone contact with her last night. The people did send out a subpoena, however, as part of the underlying factual basis for this incident, Ms. Harris was in the process of moving. The people did not have her updated address, so she did not receive that subpoena. But as I said, I did have phone contact with her last night. She is still on board, however, she was unable to make it today. So the people will be asking for an adjournment so that we can get Ms. Harris the appropriate subpoena and get her here to court. I understand defense is going to make a motion to dismiss. So I would leave it to that, Your Honor.
Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am absolutely moving to dismiss. Mr. Parnell is under bond conditions right now. He, of course, enjoys a presumption of innocence. He has been more than on time and prompt and done everything that's been asked of him. I realize that there may have been some issues in terms of the complaining witness, but not appearing this morning and for some moving reasons, but I would also submit to the court that if there was a working phone number that the prosecutor's office had for the complaining witness, that it seems like that contact or that subpoena address could have been cleared up well in advance of the night before the preliminary examination. Nonetheless, obviously she knew about it. She's not appeared this morning. I would ask that the court dismiss this matter for lack of probable cause.
The motion to dismiss is granted without prejudice. The people have the right to reissue this case against you within the statutory time frame. Okay?
I'm not understanding.
That means that the case will be dismissed today, but they can reissue the charge against you, which means you will have to repost bond and be rearranged. You understand that?
We'll talk
Yes.
about it.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the court?
I was like, can I go to my home because of where I'm at
The
now?
case is gonna be dismissed today, so you can, all your bond conditions will also be dismissed with that. I'm gonna give you a copy of the dismissal in just a moment. So if you were told that you couldn't go to your home because of the location to the victim, is that what it was?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, those conditions will no longer be in place so long as you're not under bond, and so the case is being dismissed. If you get arraigned on a new charge, because this is reissued, then you'll have to address those bond conditions all over again, okay?
But I'm not understanding what's a new charge.
I'll judge it.
Right.
I can tell. I can
The new charge, it's not a new charge, this is being dismissed, but it can be reissued. The same exact case can be reissued against you because it's not been prosecuted. Okay? That's what, and he'll explain that further for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You can have a seat out there if he's gonna talk to you, and I'll get you a copy of the dismissal, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes. Thank you. You can be seated. Okay. Mr. Levy?
Yes, ma'am.
On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus John Albert Levy, file number 23-02765. Appearance, please.
Jeff Brodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh, appearing instead of.
Okay, Mr. Levy, today was the date that was set for a preliminary examination. I'm assuming we're not running an exam today?
I know, I believe both parties are prepared to voluntarily and unconditionally waive the exam.
Okay, that's correct, Mr. Brodowitz?
Yes, Your Honor, the people are unconditionally waiving the right to preliminary exam. I would ask that this be bound over to the circuit court as charged.
Okay. Okay, and Mr. Levy, you understand that you have the right to have a preliminary examination in the district court?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that the purpose is to require the prosecution to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and then probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. You understand that? Okay, is that your signature?
That's correct.
Okay, and you want to unconditionally waive your examination?
That's correct.
Anybody promising you anything if you waive your exam?
No, Your Honor.
Has there been any threats to you in exchange for a waiver?
No, Your Honor.
You understand the waiver is unconditional and you can't change your mind once this matter is bound over. You understand that? Okay, find your waiver to be freely and voluntarily made. The bind over date will be December 6th. That's the date the circuit court gets the file from the district court. You don't need to appear in court on December 6th, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your next court date will be a pre-trial in circuit court. Mr. Abbott will be made aware of that date, okay? Has your address changed since the time you were arraigned?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, bond in this matter was 2,000 personal recognizance. That will continue. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Nothing for the defense, Your Honor.
You're all set. You're welcome.
I have a good holiday.
Same to you.
Stay blessed.
Same to you, sir. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus William Russell, a file number 23-03364, council appearance.
Jeff Brodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Melanie Luanji. Oh, Mr. Russell.
And today's the date that was set for a preliminary examination. Are we continuing to exam today?
At this time, Your Honor, I believe defense will be waiving their 21 days. After conversations with Ms. Wanji, she informed me this morning that apparently there are issues with the discovery that was sent over, specifically that the body cam she was supplied did not have audio. I did check one of the body cams for Officer Uberoth of the stop. My version had audio. So I believe in order to get that discovery issue fixed, it would be a waiver of the 21 days, Your Honor.
Ms. Wanji.
That's correct, Your Honor. I've discussed with my client and will not be prepared to do the preliminary exam today because of that problem with the discovery.
Okay, so Mr. Russell, you understand your right to have your preliminary examination within 21 days of the date you're arraigned. Okay, and are you willing to waive the timeline so this could be reset?
Yes.
Anybody threatening you to get you to do that?
No.
Any promises being made?
No.
Okay, we'll get you a new date.
Thank you, Your Honor.
January 11 at 9.
January 11th at 9 a.m. Does that work for you, Ms. Wanji?
Just one minute, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. We'll get you a copy of your notice to appear. Bond set at 3,010% will continue. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
See you next week.
A city matter or something?
Huh?
What, do you have a city matter?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay, we'll see you
Sometimes
next.
the dog do the rest
We'll see you, yeah, something's going on.
Something's going on. I'll see you next
All
couple
right.
weeks.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you. You have a good holiday.
We're running Hodges.
That is my understanding, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can have Hodges brought up. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Jesse Hodges, file number 23-03251, council appearance.
Jeff Brodowitz on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Assistant Public Defender Jacob Riley on behalf of Mr. Hodges.
Okay, today was the date and the time that was set for preliminary examination. My understanding is that we are ready to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Prior to proceeding, just to let the court know, the people did have 3 witnesses. I did have contact with the complaining witness last night, who told me that she would be here today. I have not seen her in the courtroom yet. However, the people are ready to proceed with the 2 officers who plan to call, and then we'll be asking for a continuation.
Mr. Rowley.
So I would object to that continuation, Your Honor. This matter was adjourned once for good cause already. I believe the people have had plenty of time to secure the appearance of their witness. And furthermore, my client has been in custody since I believe October 25th on this matter.
Oh. You can call your witness. Note your objection at this time.
Prior to calling the first witness, Your Honor, people would seek to admit what's been marked as People's Exhibit 3. It is a certified copy of bond conditions from the 56A District Court in Eaton County, Your Honor.
Your Honor, having reviewed that document, I have no objection for purposes of these proceedings.
Okay, you said People's
It'd be
3?
People's Exhibit 3, yes.
People's 3 is admitted without objection.
Permission to approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
So then the people would call Officer Matt Stevens, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
I swear.
Thank you. You can have a seat, officer. Okay, you can proceed, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Stevens.
Good morning.
Officer Stevens, how are you employed?
With the City of Lansing Police Department
And how long have you been a police officer in the city of Lansing?
for almost 3 years.
All right. And were you working in that capacity on the evening of October 24th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
And during the course of your duties that evening, did you have did your duties take you to the area of 1209 Gordon Avenue?
Yes, sir.
And why were you dispatched to that location?
In reference to a PPO violation.
Okay, and just for reference, is that location in the city of Lansing,
Yes, sir.
in Ingham County?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when you arrived at that location, how did you proceed?
I made contact with our caller, Deborah Shattuck. She advised that she's a protected party in the PPO. That's Mr. Jesse Hodges.
And did you ever, now just for clarification, was that did you ever, sorry, let me rephrase. Did you ever review that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and just for clarification, was it a PPO or was it bond conditions?
It was a bond conditional PA 53.
Okay, and where was that out of, if you recall?
If I recall correctly, it was out of Lansing. Or
Okay, and so when you And so you made contact with the calling party, Ms. Shattuck. What happened after that?
As we made contact with Ms. Shattuck, when we first entered the residence, she was holding possibly a Ring camera. From there, we could hear who we believe was Jesse Hodges talking to Ms. Shattuck. We attempted to have him return to the residence. He refused to, stating that he would be arrested.
Okay, and what led you to believe that that was the named individual, Mr. Hodges, on that?
Because that was what Ms. Shattuck said, that was him.
Okay. At this time, permission to approach, Your Honor.
You may.
All right, officer, at this time, I'm going to show you what has been a portion of what has been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 1. You could just take a look at a few seconds of it. Sorry, let me, before I approach you. Officer, when you made this encounter with Ms. Shattuck, were you, how were you dressed at that time?
In a full LPD uniform.
All right, and did you have body camera that day?
Yes, sir.
And was that body camera operation?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, again, permission to approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show you a small clip of what's been labeled as People's Proposed Exhibit 1. Officer, do you recognize that footage?
Yes, sir.
And what? How do you recognize it?
That's my body camera footage.
Right. And is it a fair and accurate representation of what you observed that night?
Yes, sir.
All right. At this time, people would seek to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 1.
Any objection to People's One?
Your Honor, I'm curious as to the purpose of admitting this exhibit. I'm not sure what it's intended to prove at this point.
Do you want to respond?
Yes, Your Honor. People would seek to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 1 for corroboration of Officer Stevens' testimony of what he observed that night when he made contact with the complaining witness in this matter, Your Honor.
I no objection to that.
Okay, so People's One is admitted.
Oh. Sure.
One moment.
And for the record, Your Honor, I am beginning Officer Stevens' body cam at what is marked on the video of 1 minute, Your Honor.
Lock her up. Macy, bed. Macy, go to bed. Macy, bed. Go on. She's just a puppy. It's okay. But she's just starting to get protective. Go to bed. 10-month-old Rottweiler. Got it locked? Hi guys, come on in.
Hello, are you Deborah?
Yeah. You want to come outside? It's not really. Oh. Scares the shit out of me. Fair enough.
Is he here in the backyard still? Have you seen him
No,
yet?
he's documented room.
Oh.
Jesse!
What?
Where you at?
I did nothing wrong.
I never said you did, but you're not supposed to.
Fuck him, he's behind me. It is bullshit, I did nothing wrong.
Can you come
Once
back to
again,
the side of the
I'm
story?
being fucking held accountable for nothing I did.
Okay.
Can you come back and give us?
House. Seriously?
Come back and give us your side of the story then.
Why? So I can get arrested? You know I got a fucking warrant because you made me miss court. Are you serious?
I don't think you have a warrant.
You know goddamn well, Debbie. You're trying to set me up. I know I got a warrant. You're trying to set me up.
This bullshit, Debbie, that you do this to me. I did nothing wrong.
Okay. I don't know if you can hang that up or whatever, but it is what it is.
And for the record, I'm stopping that at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So did you, Officer Stevens, did you ever have any personal contact with the person identified as Jesse Hodges that night?
No, sir.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Officer, I believe you just stated you did not have any personal contact with the person identified as Jesse Hodges on that night.
Yes, sir.
And there's a voice being heard on the speaker, it seems, that person ever state that they were Jesse Hodges?
Well, when Miss Shattuck asked or said Jesse, he said respond with what? But I mean, outside of that, I mean, I can't tell who's on the other side of that.
In other words, you can't personally identify that that is 100% Jesse Hodges.
I mean, that is correct, but outside of that, she was saying that Jesse Hodges had direct control over those cameras, but yes.
So in other words, you don't have personal knowledge, you are relying on information received from someone else.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen any evidence of a crime having been committed at that location on that night?
Aside from the violation, no.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
Can you redirect?
Just briefly, Your Honor. So, Officer, you mentioned in cross-examine there that you learned, I believe you said you learned from Ms. Shattuck that Mr. Hodges had control over those cameras. Would that have been something that was captured on your body cam?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I would object to that line of questioning. I believe that that information would be hearsay in the absence of direct testimony from Ms. Shattuck to that.
Do you want to respond?
Yes, Your Honor, that testimony was elicited on cross-examination that Ms. Shattuck was the one who revealed that information to the officers.
As to his name?
Yes, as to who was controlling the ring cameras at that time.
But you asked specifically about
I just asked if that would have been caught on his body camera.
the full name, you mean?
What he just testified to, Your Honor.
Objection to rule.
Your Honor, to be clear, I don't object to, as I stated earlier, the use of this video and questioning about it to demonstrate the officer's personal experiences, but I don't think they should be used to demonstrate the truth of any matter asserted by parties other than the officer.
Okay, he said he was using it to corroborate with the officer. So it will be used for that purpose.
Thank you. And again, to corroborate the officer's testimony, people would seek, based on the officer's testimony, people would seek to play or to replay People's Exhibit 1 from the 2-minute 15-second mark for response.
Do you have access to all of them or just?
All of them. I just tried to change it. He changed the code to him. He's the primary now instead of me. So I can't do anything.
Where did he go?
He's got nowhere to go. That's the thing.
Okay. Do you know what he was wearing?
Blue jeans.
And for the record, I'm pausing that again at 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Other than that, Your Honor, no further questions.
Okay. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, officer. You may be excused. You can call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people would call Officer Rachel Logston.
you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give us the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. So if you can state your first and last name and spell both. Sorry, it's a little tight. Spell both your first and last name and state them first.
Rachel Logston, RACHEL LOGSDON.
You can proceed, Counselor.
Thank you. Good morning, Officer Lockton. Officer Lockton, how are you employed?
I'm a police officer for the city of Lansing,
And how long have you been a police officer with the city of Lansing?
20 years.
And were you working in that capacity on the morning of October 25th, 2023?
Yes.
And how were you dressed on that day?
In my patrol uniform.
All right. And did that include a body camera?
Yes.
And was that body camera active?
Yes.
All right. And at some point, did your duties take you to the address of 1209 Gordon Avenue?
Yes.
And is that location in the city of Lansing?
Yes.
In Ingham County?
Yes.
All right. And why were you dispatched to that location?
We received a call that a male was possibly inside of a house who was violating a court order of the homeowner.
Okay. And when you received that information, how did you proceed?
We responded to the house to attempt contact with the subject that was inside of the house.
First, let me just back up for clarification. So you met, did you meet the caller on that morning?
I'm sorry, yes, we did make contact with the caller. That was Deborah Shattuck.
Okay, and where did you make contact with that caller?
Around the corner from the address.
Okay, and where was she? Was she, I guess, just for clarification, was she outside? Was she in a vehicle? Where
She was in a vehicle.
Okay. And what did she advise you of at that time?
I did not speak with her. It was Officer Lindeman that spoke with her.
Okay. So you stated then you were provided information that there was an individual in her house?
Correct.
Okay. And how did you proceed when you got that information?
We had a couple more officers come to the scene. We made contact with our canine officer and decided to have her involved as well. And we responded to the address to attempt contact with him.
Okay. So this time, permission to approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right. Officer, I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 2. If you could just look at a few seconds of it and then. Do you recognize that footage?
Yes.
And how do you recognize it?
That would be my body worn camera footage from the day of the call.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of what you observed that day?
Yes.
All right. At this time, Your Honor, people would seek to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 2.
Any objection?
No objection.
2 is admitted.
All right, and if I may, Your Honor, I would seek to play People's Exhibit 2 from the time of 2 minutes on the body camera. 2 minutes on the video, I should say.
Sounds like it online. Check this one out now. What's your phone number? It's in the case notes.
Daddy, you have to hit the.
There's no button on top.
No, she said this button.
It's gonna be 517.
That's the doorbell. This is the.
4383.
Yeah.
Got it. That's it. Lansing Police K-9! Anyone inside? 1209 Gordon, you need to make yourself known. You're gonna get bit.
Jesse, Lansing Police Department, if you're inside, you need to come out now. We have a K-9. We will send him in. Jesse, Lansing Police Department K-9 unit with a dog. You need to come out of the house now.
Lansing Police K-9! Anyone inside? 1209 Gordon, make yourself known or I'll send my dog and you will be bit.
I'm gonna pause it right there, Your Honor, which is 4 minutes and 22 seconds on the video. So officer, we see you entering a code for a door there. Who provided you with that code?
The caller did.
Okay. And then you were also yelling a name there. Who provided you with that name?
The caller did.
Okay. And do you recall what that name was?
Jesse Hodges.
Okay. And so just so for the record, what did we see in the video there?
That was us making announcements which are required prior to going into a residence to look for somebody.
Okay. And at that time, did you receive any response to those announcements?
We did not.
Okay. And how did you proceed after that?
Officer Cutler deployed her canine partner into the residence to search.
Oh. And how did that search proceed?
We went into the basement first and searched the basement level and did not locate anybody. Then we proceeded to the main floor and searched that floor and did not locate anybody. And then we located a door that led to the attic. And we opened up that door and Officer Cutler made an additional announcement.
And what happened after that?
After that announcement was made, we did hear a voice from the upstairs say, okay. And then we made more announcements for him to come down.
All right. So if I may.
Yeah.
So at this time, Your Honor, people would seek to play People's Exhibit 2, starting at 9 minutes and 39 seconds.
I'm gonna make more announcements. See you upstairs. See you. Okay. Down. Yeah.
Shit all over the steps.
Lansing Police K-9. Anyone upstairs? 1209 Gordon. Make yourself known or I'll send my dog. You're gonna get bit.
Stay. Come down now with your hands up.
Down.
Hands up. Hands up.
What the fuck?
Put your hands up.
Oh my god. What are you guys fucking here for? Fuck.
Turn around. Put your hands up. Hands up. Don't make any moves. You're gonna get bit.
Really? You guys? Really?
Yeah, really.
What's this about?
You know what it's
No, okay, last night, but what am I being charged with? I don't know.
You're being charged with interfering with a 911 call and violation of conditional bond release.
Yeah, the bond release, 911 call.
At this point, Your Honor, I'm pausing People's Exhibit 2 at 10 minutes and 45 seconds. So, and just again for the record, Officer Logston, so you ordered, you heard the voice say, okay, how did you proceed from there?
I gave him commands to come down the stairs with his hands up.
And did that individual ever put his hands up while coming down the stairs?
He did not.
Okay. And in viewing the video there, we see the individual like brushing himself off. So were you able to see what he was doing there?
He had insulation on him.
Okay. And when you say insulation, can you describe that just a little bit?
It was like a soft texture. It was gray, which I would believe would be the insulation that was in the attic.
Okay. And
Off the record. Back on the record.
Okay. What was the last question? That was.
You asked me about
Well,
what the
no, I'm
insulation
sorry.
was.
I'm
just-
asking
Oh,
Abby,
I'm
so I
sorry.
know where.
Question of insulation. You say it louder. He needs to start with the first question about the insulation.
Okay, so I think I can go back. So, like I said, there was noticed in the video, the individual was brushing something off themselves. What was that you noticed?
Insulation.
Okay, and can you describe what you mean by insulation?
It was a gray fluffy type of insulation that they use to insulate houses.
Okay. And then when the individual who came out the attic was arrested, did you identify the individual?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jesse Hodges.
And do you see Mr. Hodges anywhere here in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please indicate where he is sitting and an article of clothing he's wearing?
He is sitting at the end of the table on the left there, and he's wearing blue.
Please let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
No objection. Okay, identification is noted.
And then I believe just one other question. So Officer Loxton, when you and other officers were searching the house, were there other announcements made during that search?
In addition to the ones we've seen?
Yes. So-
No.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
What, I don't know if I missed it, what address is this location, what address is this right here?
That was 1209.
I'm asking the witness.
Sorry.
1209 Gordon.
Thank you. Okay. No problem. Cross exam.
Thank you. Mr. Logden, so when you first sort of opened the door and made your announcement, at that time you could not see anyone inside the house, correct?
Correct.
So you didn't know where Jesse Hodges or anyone else who might be there was located?
No.
And so I think you said you proceeded to search the basement, is that correct?
Yes.
And did you find anyone in the basement?
No.
And then you searched, I think, the main floors or the ground floor, is that right?
Yes.
And no one was found on the ground floor?
Correct.
And then at some point you found this door that apparently leads up some stairs. That door was closed, correct?
Correct.
And then once you opened the door, you made an announcement. Is that correct?
Officer Cutler made an
I'm
announcement.
sorry, Officer Cutler made an announcement. And after that announcement, you received an answer from the individual who's upstairs.
Correct.
And that answer was okay.
Yes.
And then that individual proceeded to come down the stairs and was put in handcuffs and led away. Is that all correct?
Yes.
Did you ever go upstairs and
No.
see what was up there? You don't know what that area looks like or what else might be up there?
I do not.
Did you hear any noise coming from upstairs?
Prior to him coming down?
At any point when you were standing near the door to the upstairs?
No, we did not hear anything.
I think you've already identified that individual as Jesse Hodges, the one that came down the stairs, correct?
Yes.
I think in that video, we can see that that staircase. Were there objects on the stairs sort of in the way of going up and down the stairs?
Yes.
But Mr. Hodges sort of made his way around and went away. Is that right?
Yes.
In other words, he didn't trip or fall in.
Correct.
Did Mr. Hodges ever tell you why he was upstairs or what he was doing up there?
He did mention that it was his house and he lived there.
Okay. You ask him, or did he state that there was a specific reason he was up there at that time?
No.
Okay. Did you ask him if he was able to hear you when you made your first announcement at the house?
No.
So just to be clear, once you were able to, well, not to be clear, I should ask you first. Once you opened that door to the upstairs, could you see Jesse Hodges at that time, or could you still not see anyone?
I could not see him.
It was only after you made your announcement and he answered that you came into view of you yourself and the other officer. Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Nothing from the people here.
Thank you, officer. You may be excused. Can you call your next witness?
The people have no further witnesses at this time, Your Honor. Like I said, the people would ask for a continuation of this examination. I did have contact. The only other witness the people would be seeking to call would be the complaining witness, Ms. Deborah Shattuck. I did have phone contact with her last night. She told me she would be here today, and as I've stated previously, she has not made her presence known to me today. I'm not sure why, so the people would ask for a brief adjournment in order to get her here and secure her testimony, Your Honor.
And of course, the defense would object to that, Your Honor, as I stated earlier. My client has been in custody since October 25th. I believe that would be 29 days as of today on this matter. This matter had been scheduled for, I think 15 days ago, was continued for good cause. But all that is just to say that certainly I believe there's been ample time to notify and secure the appearance of that necessary witness. So I certainly would object to continuing to that purpose.
My understanding from court staff is that Ms. Shattuck was present today. I don't know why she didn't speak to you. She's not here now. So I don't know why she's no longer here. But she was present and did appear according to court personnel in the courthouse today. I am going to grant your request for a continuation because you have had communication with her and because she did apparently appear in the courtroom today. Don't know why she's not here now, but we'll allow you to some time to sort through that and re-subpoena her to appear.
Thank you.
You're welcome. December 7th, yeah, at 9:30. Any additional matters for today's record?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
May I address bond at this time?
You may.
I've stated multiple times now, my client has been in custody for 4 weeks at this point. I know this matter has just been continued to December 7th, but I would note that my client also has a whole lot of county. He's trying to get that matter taken care of. I think that certainly would be easier if he were not being held here. So if the court were able to grant a reduction or personal bond this time,
He has a matter in Eaton County. It's the matter before Judge O'Neill. Is that the domestic violence matter?
I believe so. Your Honor.
And Mr. Roberts, you can have your exhibit. In this particular matter, which domestic violence is a misdemeanor, he has far more serious charges that he's addressing in this jurisdiction. Count 1, stalking aggravated felony, maximum penalty 5 years and or $10,000 in fines. Count 2, police officer assault resisting obstructing. Count 3, attempted interfering with electronic communication, and there's a habitual fourth offense notice, which is enhancing the sentence to life if primary offense has penalty of 5 years or more. And as I stated, the primary offense here is aggravated stalking. Primary offense has a sentence of 5 years or more. So he's facing life in this matter, and his bond is only 10,000, 10%. More than reasonable, especially considering the concern that the court had at the time of the arraignment of the safety and security of the public, as this defendant was out on bond allegedly during the incidents alleged in this case. So bond is more than reasonable. Actually, I think it's a little low under the circumstances, and so your bond motion is denied. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
You're all set. That's all the exams we have, and then we have PCCs. Joseph needs to go on the record, they say, and then